Good morning. Good morning. Let's see. Good morning, everybody. Do 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 do. All right. Good morning, Braven. Let's tap the screen, guys. I'm helping you guys out already. Let's get thrown into the algo this morning. And then I'll open up everything and get everything ready to go. Good morning, Finn. I'm okay. I just took some Dayquil because my nose is still really stuffy and I still don't feel 100%. But other than that, I am fine. Here we go. Good morning, Allie. Peach Keen. I slept so good last night because I took some NyQuil before I went to bed, and it was pretty great. And I'm glad I got the sleep that I did because I went to go clean out the duck pool this morning, and now I'm just stressed because my dear, sweet, loving husband. We bought one of those nozzle things for the hose, so you can like spray and like water your plants, and it's got all the different like settings. Come here, Peach. Is your photo judge Emma? Penny, yes. So if you go to in my videos, there is a Trump supporter on this app who swears my name is Judy from Rowlett, Texas. And so yeah, I made that my hold on. I made that whole my whole personality from. Good morning, Penny.
Yes. Good morning. Hi, Judy.
I was Hi Judy for a whole week. And now I'm Emma O'Core since they say I'm one of RJ's minions.
Well, I was wondering if I could do a quick little plug for a fundraiser we're doing for ETR on Friday, even though there's 30 people in here. Maybe if you know about it, you
Absolutely.
could share when there's more people. Would you want to auction off your name by any chance for a week?
I could do that. I could auction off my name for a week, but it's got to be something appropriate. It can't be
Well,
like
yeah, exactly. There are rules to it. There are rules. Yeah, I wish.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was thinking about like you earlier, but I'm like not. It's really Jade and Dilligaf and Do Better are really the ones planning it. So I kind of, when there's like too many cooks in the kitchen, I'm like trying to like, all right, I'll show up. Just tell me what time to be there.
Oh yeah, let him know. I'll throw my name in there to be auctioned off. No problem. I love ETR. Is he okay? Is ETR
yeah,
okay?
he's the best. So basically, Friday morning, 8 a.m. on Dilligaf's panel, 20 of us will be auctioning off our usernames to help raise money for ETR. I'll send you the info.
Okay.
It's Unrealness is doing it, believe it or not. Mideast, Dilligaf, obviously Jade, Do Better. BLP is doing it. Sandy, Tried Comedy. We're hoping to raise a lot of money for him. He's the best. Sorry, I'm exhausted right now. And I saw Judge Emma on the screen, and I was like, I fucking love it. You're one of my favorite people on the left, honestly.
Thanks.
I think you're so funny.
I appreciate that.
But if you hate the creator, you can bid up their name, and if you love them and want to save them, you can bid it up. But it's all in good fun. It's their rules. We can't be anything mean or offensive or like people were throwing out like pro Pally Penny. And then it was funny because like a few hours or like then maybe like the next day, like a troll account Palestinian Penny like with my photo like came up.
We're we're not. I don't think we're ever going to get you to denounce Israel, but we will get you to say that what Israel's doing to Palestine eventually is fucked up. We'll get you there, Penny.
Look, I think I'm exhausted. I didn't sleep well, but I will say, I think that there needs to be, when we have this conversation, people need to understand the nuance. Like, I can criticize individual actions of the Israeli government without condemning the entire ordeal, because it's not just black and white. It's been going on a long time. It started way before October 7th. There's a lot of, but I can say, okay, this individual circumstance, I don't agree with. This I don't agree with. This I understand.
This isn't my favorite topic. It always gets me just
I
riled
know.
up and makes me
We'll
cry.
keep it surface level for that reason.
Yeah, but like I did see a video the other day that got me like truly like thinking, and I think it's a good thing to get like pro-Israel people to think about. Is like, we're always asking, does Israel have a right to exist? And like, of course they do. Everyone has a right to exist. Why is nobody asking if Palestine has that same right?
I'll answer that because they've been offered a state 5 times. They want from the river to the sea. They've made that abundantly clear. That term was phrased, the coin. Oh my God, I'm so tired. I should not be on TikTok before coffee. That term of phrase was coined in, I believe, 1967 by the PLO, by Yasser Arafat, because Palestine doesn't want to exist if Israel exists. So, Israel for years, and now obviously in 2026, I'm not going to lie, I guess it is a different conversation now, but for, a 2-state solution has been offered many, many times, and I'm not against a 2-state solution.
Maybe it should be offered now.
I'm fine with that. Do you think that if the Palestinians are offered a 2-state solution, they should accept it?
I think it depends on what the parameters of that solution are, right? Because if it's going to be something crazy, like they don't have they don't have their own land, they don't have the capability to have like a defense force, like et cetera, then no, absolutely not. Like if it's like basically what Russia did to Ukraine when trying to make a deal, and was like, yeah, we'll give you this, and this, but you can't even have an army to defend yourself. Like, that's crazy.
Well, Bill Clinton, when he did the Oslo Accords, which, in whatever, so the Oslo Accords, Palestine would have had Gaza, the West Bank, access to the Golan Heights, and then 4% of, like Israel proper to make up for the settlers in the West Bank, which have been a topic for years. That's nothing new. I know that people like to discuss it as if that's something new, but Bill Clinton was giving them 4% of Israeli land to compensate for that. That was in the second Oslo Accords.
I just don't understand why Bibi Netanyahu specifically seems to want to wipe the Palestinian people off the map, and that's his only solution. And how people who may not think this is right or wrong, dependent on how much of the history they know, why they don't just say the fact that what Bibi is doing specifically, trying to say that these people don't have a right to exist and they should not be here, is wrong.
I don't think he wants to.
That part is black and white, right?
I don't think that he wants to unalive all the Palestinians. I think that it's very difficult. Hamas has spent the last 17 years entrenching themselves in every part of Gazan society, from schools to hospitals, and it is asymmetrical warfare. I'll give you that. But Gaza is one of the most densely populated areas on earth, and when you have the T group that they're trying to eliminate entrenched in Gaza and the society in Gaza, it's just a very difficult war to fight. And I do think that when there were hostages there, I probably would have preferred to see a ground invasion to get the hostages back. I think that would have been, I think less casualties would have occurred. That being said, when he wanted to do a ground invasion in Rafah, Biden made a very big deal about it. He threatened to not give them the artillery that they had already purchased from us, as well as, the social media campaign, All Eyes on Rafah, like trying to get them not to do a ground invasion. they ultimately did like a partial ground invasion and found multiple hostages in Gaza and homes. So I mean, in Rafah rather. So I think that it's difficult when the propaganda machines are at work. I do believe that this was a war of propaganda, a PR war. Hamas didn't think that
But
they were.
Rafa is gone now. How is that propaganda?
It's. I mean, it's not completely gone.
Petty. So
Are
hold
you?
on. So hold on. Let's just do it. Like, I'm not trying to like conflate an issue, but like so you hang out with a lot of people who are on the right, who are Trump supporters. How can you sit there and listen to them say things like the radical left burned down cities like fucking Minnesota whenever George Floyd happened, but then say but Rafa's not completely gone? Cuz like
Neither,
Minneapolis
but
is
neither are
fine,
those
right?
cities. But neither are those cities.
But they're also not, they're not desolate, they're not rubble. Like, if I could show you satellite images of Rafa right now, homes just complete rubble. When did that ever happen? Here, right? It hasn't.
It didn't. It
So
didn't.
it's
I'm not
like,
conflating
so
the two.
but no. What I'm saying is like a lot of people in your group do though, right? Because they have the same views that you do, where they would tell me to my face, Rafa isn't gone, but say that we burned down Minneapolis, Minnesota during the summer of love. Like, make that make
I think
sense.
okay,
How do
okay. I
you look
think
at
that
these
when
things and be like, those aren't the same? Like,
we're a first world country,
we're a modern day country.
we're a
But
westernized country as well.
I don't know what that has to do with the fact that we allowed a country to use weapons that we provided on our taxpayer dime to level places around the world.
Well, I think, and that's why I think that nuance is important. They had hostages. They took not only Israeli hostages, but American hostages were taken into Gaza. If Canada or Mexico came into the United States, I'm going to use Mexico because, let's just say Mexico decided to take people from Coachella, right? And they took them into Mexico and they held them hostage. They put them with families and teachers, and this is all proven. What do you think America would do to get our hostages back?
Well, I mean, there was American hostages involved, and we didn't do shit. We just
What do
kept
you mean?
supplying fucking weapons for them to kill children. Were
Well, we
American
kept
hostages not taken from October 7th?
no, they were. That's what I'm saying.
Right, and what did America do? Were they boots on the ground? No.
Well, American school children in college campuses were basically saying "fuck them." I got onto this app, and people would say, people gave me a pretty hard time, and I said, look, when the hostages are returned, I will be able to look at it more like from a critical standpoint. Until the hostages are returned, I it's very difficult for me to do so.
But you still don't look at it from a critical standpoint because you still
I'm
never
I've
once have I heard you say that Bibi Netanyahu, who's in charge of the IDF, allowing them to kill children, allowing children to starve, like you've never once denounced any of these things that are very much happening.
I think the loss of any innocent life is tragic, whether it's Palestinian or Israeli. Um, I have denounced individual actions. I'm not like a BB stan. Like before this war, or this chapter of the war, I should say, because it is a long-standing conflict. I'm not like super pro BB, but I think that it's what scares me as an American Jew is the fact that the conversation goes from this war is wrong to from the river to the sea, eradicate Israel.
I don't think
And I'm
anyone
not
has
saying you're
ever.
doing that. I'm not
I've
saying you're doing
never.
that.
So here's the thing. I've never once. I've been on this app for a long time, debating these topics, listening to these topics. I've never once heard somebody say that Israel needs to be eradicated. Not one singular time. Can you give me one TikTok host who has ever said Israel needs to be eradicated?
I have heard people advocate for a one-state solution, which is Palestine.
Can you name
They might
anybody?
not.
Name anybody who's done that?
Yeah, I can name a bunch. I just don't want to. I don't want to like.
No, here's the thing, right? Like, we need to start
Can I message you
normalizing.
privately?
Why can't we normalize calling out bad behavior? If people are saying that a
Because
genocide
I
needs to
actually.
happen, hold on. If people are saying that a genocide needs to happen on any party, they're wrong.
So, do you agree that when people say from the river to the sea? Palestine should be free, that means that's calling for a one-state solution?
How is that calling for a one state solution? If you look at a map, right? And like if
Yeah.
you look at a map of Palestine, the way that they've funneled these people to the very bottom corner and taken all of their land, from my understanding, from people I've spoken with, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, is just them getting their land back. This has nothing to do with like the overtaking of Israel. Right? So if you're
But
going to conflate those two issues, then you're being the problem, not anybody else. Like I call out bad behavior. If someone is saying Palestinians should be free, which means Israelis should be genocided, that's bad and they should be called out for that.
but if you look at a map, from the river, that's talking about the Jordanian River, the Jordan River, to the sea, the Mediterranean Sea, Palestine will be free. They want their land back. That is all of Israel.
No, that's not all of Israel.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. What do you mean? So hold on, look. Let me pull up this map right here. My cat's being fucking crazy. Let's see. So, okay. So if we pull this up right here, what window, what browser am I in? Okay. If we pull up this map right here, let me make sure that you guys can see my cursor.
Okay, so from the Jordanian River, which
doesn't run all the way down. Okay, like that doesn't go all the way down. So like we're talking like West Bank is
wait,
like
what
right
do you mean
here.
it doesn't go all the way down? Wait, go down.
What do you mean? So this is a different river down here at the bottom. This doesn't go all the way down along the side of Israel.
And actually, in Arab, when they say it in Arab, it's from the river to the sea. Palestine will be Arab. That's what that actually translates
So
to.
look, so basically, look, we cut it in half, just like right here across the middle. Okay, boom. Everyone's got equal portions.
But that's not what they want. They want from where your mouse is.
Prove that that's what they mean. Prove that that's what. Show me a source that that's what they mean. Is that they want
Hold on.
all of Israel to become Palestine.
Hold on.
I've never once heard that. Why not? I see you in the comments saying basing on only facts and policies. Why do you hate Trump? Get in the queue. And as soon as I'm done talking to Penny, I'd be happy to have that conversation with you.
Okay. Provide you a source that you will accept.
I'm ready whenever you are.
Are you fine with unpacked.education?
Let's media bias check that. Unpacked education?
Yeah, unpacked.education.
Let me media bias check it because I've never heard of them.
No, that's fine. I know you do that, so I don't want to provide like the ADL and be like, oh, they're biased.
So they're rated mostly factual. Let's see. They have one-sided perspectives that may not give a complete picture, is why they're rated this way. So which source is it? Because it says examples of coverage reflecting this include: does Israel target civilians in Gaza? Donald Trump will be the 47th president of the U.S. What does this mean for Israel? 2 Israeli embassy staffers murdered in Washington, D.C. Israeli American and hostage Eden Alexander released in the U.S. Hamas deal were some of the example articles.
I Googled from the river to the sea explained unpacked for educators. Well, it's not what I actually Googled,
Right.
but yeah.
Let's see.
I mean, it says the slogan represents different meanings ranging from Palestinian statehood to the elimination of Israel, depending on the perspective. Many who use the slogan are not informed on the conflict and spread controversial phrase without being aware of its implications, which I think is really the case in most situations. As people say it, it sounds catchy, it's
Right.
like a chant that and I just don't think people actually.
I could get behind that on different perspectives, right? Because I mean, there's going to be radicals in every group of people. So are there people who say from the river to the sea Palestine will be free that might believe in the eradication of Israel? Sure. Are those the majority? However, I don't believe so. Right? Just
Do you think that it's
Go ahead.
Sorry.
You're fine.
Do you think it's possible the majority of the people who are chanting that don't actually understand what that means? You looked at that map from the Jordanian River to the Mediterranean Sea. If that land is all Palestine, where would Israel go?
Hold on. Let's see. I'm trying to pull the map back up. So let's see. Okay, Google Maps, get it together. We're just chilling in an ocean. Hello? Okay, so look, so this is, I feel like this is a better image than what I had up earlier. So give it just a second, it's gonna load out. Okay, let me make this smaller. 2 seconds. So look, like I was saying, right? So like the Jordan River's right here, this piece, and then this is the Dead Sea. Okay, so the Jordan River doesn't even go all the way down. So like from the river to the sea, from here to this line here, because that's the border of Lebanon, would be Palestine, and the majority of this land would remain Israel. What is the problem?
Historically, that's not what they meant by that.
See, so Penny,
but hold
Penny,
on.
what you read,
When
because
the
what you read, your own source said, it depends on the perspective, right? So, like, of course there are going to be radicals, but like I said, those radicals are not the majority, right? At the end of the day, Palestine deserves to exist the same way Israel deserves to exist. And by continuing to stand up for Israel while children are dying and not denouncing that behavior is a problem. That is a problem.
As I said, I denounce any civilian casualty. The loss of any innocent life is tragic. I think, and
So what are you doing to stop it?
What am I doing to stop?
To stop
I'm
children
hoping
and civilians dying, because that's what's happening right now. When was the last time any reported killings happened of Hamas?
Well, the last time I checked, Hamas was supposed to be disarming. That was a part of the
Great.
peace plan.
So then why are children still dying every day in Palestine? Why are civilians still dying every day in Palestine?
Are they? Emma?
Yes. I speak with Mohammed and Aboud every single day, who have been vetted, who live right now in Palestine. And their friends and family are dying every day, Penny. He's living in a tent with 2 twin babies and a child who's maybe a year younger than my son. We watched as his wife became pregnant and carried to term 2 twins and gave birth to them in an active war zone. So to sit here and pretend, like, just because you haven't heard of it, right? Like, Israel is killing these people for no reason. IDF soldiers are on tape saying Palestinian children are terrorists. Like, pretending like this doesn't exist is wild. You can feel
I'm
however
not
you
saying,
feel
hold
about
on, I'm
Israel,
not
right?
saying it doesn't exist. I'm not saying it doesn't exist.
But what are
But
you doing to stop it? You can support Israel all you want to. I don't give a shit. I think the Israeli government's fucking gross. I think the state of Israel needs a new leader. I think maybe they can be redeemed under new government. But Bibi Netanyahu's not fucking it, babe. He's not it. And what's happening right now in Gaza, children are starving. People are dying. Houses are being demolished for no reason. Like, that is a problem. That's a problem.
War is bad, but I think
You
that we
just
have
said
to not hold
Hamas
on.
is disarming. What war?
Well, no, they're not disarming. That's part of the problem. They were supposed to in the 20-point plan.
What 20-point plan? The one that Israel like went to Trump and was like, "I don't like your Gaza plan."
Well, who cares if they like it or dislike it? That's,
What do you
they
mean?
have
Who
to
cares?
make.
Who cares if
No,
they like it
you
or
just
dislike
wait.
it?
Hold on.
Do we stop sending
I'm
them
saying
weapons?
wait, hold on. I'm saying they have to oblige by Trump's plan, whether they like it or not. And if they don't, then I will condemn them.
Okay, Trump's. Let's check it out.
But I also think that acting like it's not a war, and that, you know, they're not shooting rockets into Israel or trying to, you know, that also needs to be brought up. I mean, I understand the ratio of unalivings is not, maybe you could think proportional.
Okay, so let's
Although,
think proportional.
again,
Penny, let's think proportional.
no, wait, hold on. Let me just finish. You know, I'm tired, and
Okay.
let me just finish my point. They have shot tens of thousands of rockets into Israel, or they've tried to shoot tens of thousands of rockets into Israel. But Israel has an Iron Dome, which intercepts these rockets. But it's not that they haven't unalived people from lack of trying.
Right. So I agree. Sure, have attempts been made in this war? Absolutely. But just like you said, let's talk about proportionality. Penny, you and I are
Well,
two
was this
grown
war
women,
not started
right? I'm
with the
5'4".
unaliving
I
of
think you're
innocent
probably around the
people?
same height as me, maybe like 5'5", 5'6". You seem kind of tall. You give
Yeah,
off
I'm
tall energy.
5'6".
Okay. So let's say you and I are just standing on a street corner, and a 2-year-old comes up and starts punching at our legs. Right? Are we gonna like laugh at that 2-year-old? Maybe like move him back a little bit and be like, "Hey, buddy, you can't hit," or are we gonna slap the fuck out of that toddler and like put him to the ground? Because that's what's happening here, right? You're talking about in like an underdeveloped country who doesn't have the same technologies that like Israel has, like landing hamster punches on a grown-up's hip, and Israel saying, "Get the fuck out of my face." You're like, hello? What are we talking about? Let's talk about proportionality here.
Well, you know, first off, maybe that's not the correct word. There is no proportionality in war, but you're forgetting that this conflict was started when they unalived innocent civilians at a music festival and in their homes, including the Bebas children. Wait, hold on,
No,
Emma.
hold
Hold
on,
on,
because
Emma.
before that,
Are
Israel
you
killed a bunch of
familiar? Hold on.
Palestinians.
No, Emma. Are you familiar with the story of the Bebas family? Bibas. There was the
Nothing
youngest
you tell
hostage.
me,
Hold on.
nothing you tell me is going to
Can
equate to
you?
genocide. Nothing.
There's
Nothing.
all right. Well, we disagree on that. It's a genocide, it's a war, not a genocide. Would you please be kind enough to Google the Bibas family, Bibas, the youngest hostage in history, was taken into Gaza. 2 children and their mother. They couldn't even return the correct body of the mother. And what was disgraceful was in America, I was seeing videos of people rip down posters of these 2 children.
Great. This is a terrible thing, and I condemn this happening.
Absolutely terrible.
Now, hold on. Can we talk about the father who literally just thought for the past 2 years that his children were buried under the rubble in Gaza, and he just found them, and what the last 2 years looked like for 2 young children who didn't know where their parents were? What about that, Penny?
The Bibas children never should have been in Gaza. They should have been at home with their mother and father. They were taken. Hold on, Emma. You're not justifying. They were
I'm not
taken.
justifying
But no,
anything. I'm
hold on. But
giving
that
you
is what started.
No,
But
here's
that is what
that's
started
not,
this
no, it's not.
conflict. Was
No, it's
these
not.
people?
That's not
Hamas
what-
went into Israel. They took hostages, and if they could have had a ceasefire if they just returned the hostages.
See, so chat, notice how I looked that up and within 5 seconds was like, this is a terrible, awful thing. And this should have never happened. But I give Penny a 1-to-1 scenario that happened literally in real life. A child who seems to be about 2 to 3 years old and his older sister who seems to be about 7, 8 years old, separated from their parents for 2 years. Their parents led to believe they were under the rubble that Israel created when bombing their home. Completely displaced for 2 years. Finally found with their parents. Let's not talk about that, though.
Hold on. Wasn't the youngest one 8 months old?
What are you talking about?
The Bibas children? Do you know how old they were?
They were young children, and it's a bad thing that happened. Notice how I'm denouncing the terrible, awful thing. The terrible, awful thing. And you're just sitting here going, I'm not going to say anything about the 2 children who are alive today who had to suffer for the past 2 years not knowing where their parents were, while their parents weren't looking for them because they thought they were dead. What are we talking about, Penny?
What are their names? I'll Google it right now.
Yeah, here. Give me just a second. I literally just shared this the other day. Let's see.
But you do understand that these children were legitimately kidnapped, right?
Yes.
9
Penny,
months old.
Any
9 months
child,
old, Emma.
no child ever should have to go through a terrible, awful, tragic thing like being kidnapped, murdered, abused. I believe that across the board. For Americans, Canadians, Israelis, Palestinian children, I believe that across the board. Meanwhile, you sit here and you watch Palestinian children starving, eating sand, and you haven't once been like, terrible, awful thing, BB. Can these people have some food?
Well, it's a terrible, awful thing to the UN, to UNRWA, who's failing to distribute the aid, and Hamas, who's stealing the aid. Obviously, no one. Hold on. Obviously, no one should starve. No one wants to see anyone starve.
So why is the IDF shooting them at food trucks? If that's true, why is the IDF shooting them at food trucks? People just made that up. That's just fake news?
You don't think it's a little bit more complicated than that? And
yeah, I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters. I think the fact that you can't denounce this is bullshit. That's my entire point, Penny. I understand there may be more nuance. I understand it may be a little more complicated. But on the surface fucking level, Queen, can we not say the IDF shooting children in food lines is bad?
How many times do I have to say the loss of any innocent life, especially a child, is wrong? And yet you
continue to make excuses every time I bring it up. Every time.
Well, no, but you did glaze over the fact that innocent children were kidnapped and killed on October 7th.
Did I glaze over the fact, or did I say that is a terrible, awful thing that should never happen? Put a 1 in the chat if I denounced that shit, or put a 2 in the chat if I just glazed over it. Wild work. I can't find this news story that I just had the other day, so I'm just gonna have to leave it be. Penny, I'm gonna let you go because this is no longer surface level anymore. This shit pisses me off that every excuse is made from the party that wants to protect women and fucking children as to why kids are fucking starving and being blown up right now. So I hope you get some sleep. Have a day. I'll talk to you later. I fucking can't. Harry, you've been chilling in the queue for quite some time. Hey, Harry, can I have your age for TikTok?
Hello. I'm 21.
Beautiful. What state are you from?
I'm from the UK. I hope that's okay.
That's fine. So which of the topics do you disagree with?
I would just like to speak on number 2 if possible. But before we continue, I'd just like to say thank you very much for having me up.
You're very welcome.
And fuck Israel.
W. So before we continue, can you tell me where a woman's uvula is?
Uvula?
Yeah.
Well, that'd be quite hard considering it's in her throat.
So wait, it'd be hard to tell me where it is considering it's in her throat? What?
Sorry, my apologies. I've been asked this before, and they worded it differently, and I gave the same response. My apologies.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure you understood the anatomy of a woman before we moved into this conversation.
Yeah, of course.
So abortion is healthcare. Why do you believe it isn't?
It's not that I don't believe it is healthcare. I just don't think it's moral healthcare.
Well, I'm not here to debate morality because morals are subjective, right? Your morals could be slightly different than mine, depending on how you
it's
believe.
Unjustifiable healthcare.
So I also don't believe it's unjustifiable. I think that is a debate on morals, right? Because at the end of the day, my justification for my abortion really is none of your business, right? The fact that I found out the man murdered an 84-year-old war veteran in his driveway and I was like, delete this fetus because it was a one-night stand is none of your business, and I'm not here to argue the morality of that with you, right?
Yeah, no, I was just getting to the fact that just because it's healthcare doesn't mean we should give people access to it. Like, for instance, lobotomies. That was considered healthcare, but obviously we wouldn't practice a
I
lobotomy
would
today.
really like a lobotomy right now. So anyway, so here, let's put it this way, right? So I have a question. There's no wrong answer. In this question,
Sure.
no matter how you this isn't a gotcha or anything crazy, and no matter how you answer, there's going to be a solution to end all abortions. Abortions will never happen once you answer this
Correct.
question. So in this question, there are two groups of people: those who can get people pregnant and those who can get pregnant. In this study, people who have sex 80% of the time have admitted to using birth control or contraceptives to prevent a pregnancy from happening, so they don't have to worry about the abortion conversation to begin with. The other group of people have admittedly used the same birth control or contraceptives 30% of the time. So if we were to write legislation to ban all abortions, should it be
Right.
against the 80% or the 30?
What do you mean by against the percentage?
So like if we're going to write legislation to end all abortions, right? Like basically make abortion illegal in some sort of instance to where people don't have access to it anymore. Should we write
Right.
that legislation against the people who admittedly are being responsible enough that every time they have sex they're trying to prevent a pregnancy, or the people who are being irresponsible in that same aspect?
I don't think it has to be targeted.
Can you just answer the question?
Okay, sure. The 30%.
Great. So vasectomy is for all men. It's completely reversible. You can wait until you're married and financially stable and like you've had that conversation with your partner that you want to have a kid, but I think men should have vasectomies because then we wouldn't have to worry about unwanted pregnancy anymore.
Yeah, but vasectomies are permanent, I believe.
Nope, they're not. It's an in and out procedure. It's absolutely not permanent. So basically, what you do, right, is so basically when you go in, the doctor gives you a really good medicine cocktail that kind of like makes you like just really relaxed and like numb in certain areas, right? Which is why you need a ride home, but you still it's a you walk in, you get it done, you walk out that same day, and they basically just sever the flow of your live sperm to your penis, right? To make to the escape route. Your sperm are still alive inside your body. They just can't get from point A to point B anymore. So you can absolutely go and have that reconnected. And I think it's like almost 50% of the time that like vasectomies are completely reversible. But even if your reversal did not work, then you can absolutely still go to a doctor like an IVF clinic and they can remove your live sperm from your body and inseminate your wife with them and you can still have children. No problem.
Yeah, I mean, I just think the difference would be like people should go into it where sorry, you use protection every single time, but you go into having sexual intercourse with the knowledge that it's possible you can get someone pregnant, and that's a sort of responsibility you should just take. And then
But
if
that's
you
the
were to
thing though,
become
right?
pregnant,
So that's the thing. Like there's a possibility whenever you walk out of your house that you'll be struck by lightning, right? Does that mean that you should be afraid of walking out of your house? No. People have sex for fun, period. People should practice safe sex and responsible sex, absolutely. But even if a pregnancy did happen, why does the responsibility only fall on the woman? Because almost 80% of single households in this country that I live in are single mothers because there is no law or regulation forcing men to be fathers. So they're just
but there should be.
irresponsibly, but there isn't. So instead, they're irresponsibly ejaculating all over the place, spreading their fucking seed, and then abandoning their children. Vasectomies for all men would also remedy that issue.
Yeah, so wouldn't it be more productive to create a law um, forcing fathers to take that responsibility
How do you
compared
do that?
to
How do you do that? How do you force a father to come pick up their child, physically take care of them, feed them, bathe them, do homework with them, read them books, teach them to tie their shoes? How do you do that?
yeah, like if the father isn't reaching this responsibility, they would face fines and then prison.
Face fines and then prison. So in the interim though, until he faces fines and then prison, how many children do you think are going to be neglected and abused?
I
Because
mean,
that's the
financial
scenario that
support
you're
would
creating.
definitely be there.
So you have to be tens of thousands of dollars behind in financial support in America before you as much as get your license suspended. So since they have to be tens of thousands of dollars behind, how behind would they have how many meals would they not have to feed their child? before a fine took place or jail time took place? How many times would they be allowed to hit their child until a fine took place or jail time took place? Because the scenario that you're creating puts children in harm, whereas the scenario that I'm creating protects women and children.
So, say if we did, you know, have male vasectomies, that became the mainstream thing.
Mm-hmm.
Would you still be up for banning abortion if that were the case?
Well, we wouldn't need to ban abortion. There would be no more unwanted pregnancies. If every man had a vasectomy, right? Because so the way a vasectomy works is they stop the point A to point B, and then you have to go in for 2 to 3 doctor's appointments, a very specific set of weeks apart, to do your thing in a cup to make sure your live sperm are no longer coming through. So if no live sperm are coming through, you've passed the medical exam for that. There's no more unwanted pregnancies, which means there's no more abortions.
See, it does sound like a great idea, but there's one major critique I have.
Which is?
Okay, say if you are on a date, right? And a guy, it goes really well, and he goes back to your place, okay? And you're just about to do it, and he goes, "Okay, I've had a vasectomy. Don't worry." Are you gonna trust that guy that he's actually had the vasectomy?
If it's law, then yes. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying write that shit into law. Like, make that a law
What?
that
So
men
every
have to
man
get
legally
vasectomies.
has to get one.
Yes.
So they legally have to get one. At what age?
Probably puberty, I'd say. A little bit after puberty, right around the age that men start exploring their bodies and women start feeling comfortable enough to like explore with other men, and other people, where sex happens. Like
What if
same
a
age
guy
that we
wants to
teach
be
sex ed.
What if a guy wants to be a young dad?
Well, then he has to find a woman that he wants to be a young dad with and have his vasectomy reversed.
And what would the laws on getting your vasectomy reversed then be?
Whenever like you're with a partner and you and your partner are physically ready to have a child, easy peasy, you go into the doctor with your girlfriend, with your wife, and you're like, "Hey, we want to have a baby. We're grown, responsible adults. High five." And the doctor goes, "Okay," and signs a form and reverses your vasectomy. I'm not saying like make sure that they have X amount of dollars in their bank account and that they've like gone to therapy and that they've taken X amount of parenting courses, right? I'm just saying have 2 people who consent to this act happening go somewhere together and say, "Hey, we want this to happen." And then boom, they can have the thing happen because they both made the decision together. Instead of me going on a date, right? Having a great time, I take it back to my place. We decide to hook up and I'm like, "You have to wear a condom because I'm not on birth control." And then he slips it off mid-coitus and comes inside me and now I'm pregnant. Where was the consent in any of that?
Yeah, well, that would be great.
That happens but it happens all the time, does it not? And are men charged with rape for it?
Also, the amount of damage constantly reversing and then getting vasectomies.
Are men? So hold on, I didn't say constantly reverse it, right? Reverse it one time if you and your partner are ready to have a child. You don't have to get re-vasectomized. But first, answer the question. When men take off their condoms during sex, are they charged with rape?
They should do, but I'm not too sure if they do.
No, they're not.
Well, that seems like a massive failing.
But also on top of that, right? Like let's say the birth control fails. Birth control is only 99.9% effective. Right? So, like, what do we mean? Vasectomies, whereas if your sperm isn't getting from point A to point B, are 100% effective.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the solution is it's not a bad solution. I'll give you that, but I personally wouldn't want to do that.
Did you know a woman somewhere right now, this second, is having an abortion and that it's not affecting you in any capacity whatsoever?
Yeah, and there's probably someone else who's probably getting raped at the moment. It's not affecting me, but I would still care about that, right?
So we're just conflating 2 completely different things. Right?
Well,
because,
no,
stop. No, because I advocate every day for it's all men till it's no men. I advocate against the number 1 perpetrators of violence in the world, which are men, to hopefully get them on our side to create safe spaces and equality within the world. Whereas you use it as a talking point in a quote unquote debate to try to make your point while women are also dying. right? Women are dying due to this lack of access of healthcare. So let's not conflate the two issues that we're talking about, because I advocate for these things every single day, while you come on TikTok and only say it to try to like make the argument sway your way, right?
Yeah, well, it was more of a
Yeah.
principle. I could do anything like murder, like anything. Like, yes, it's not personally affecting me, but I would still care about it.
But do you care about it? What do you do every day to stop women from being violently raped?
I mean, I'm not sure what I can do, but
So
sorry,
whenever
but if there was something, I mean,
do
like,
you
if you can
hold
give
your
me a,
buddies accountable whenever they do things like catcall random women on the street, show each
yeah, of
other
course,
their girlfriend's nudes, etc., etc.? Do you do any of that?
yeah, of course,
Do you like attend protests and things? Do you make your voice heard in your like
no,
parliamentary on like how you want women's rights to be protected and codified, etc., etc.?
I do not do that though.
So I mean, these are just some things that you can do to like fight for women every single day. I call my representatives every single day and leave them a voicemail about my feelings on what's going on politically in my country. Every day I do that.
I mean, the political climate in America is much nicer than the UK at the moment.
It's much nicer. We have a rapist as the president. What do you mean?
I mean, like in the UK, if you say anything bad against the government, they'll just arrest you. So
Show me a source of that.
yeah. I mean, like obviously there was an exaggeration there, but if you say anything,
that was an exaggeration there, guys.
okay,
Don't worry.
hang on, okay.
I'm just going to fearmonger 232 people, and when I'm called out, say it was an exaggeration.
Okay, I'll give you an actual example with evidence. There was a lady called Sarah Connolly. Right? You can search her up.
Sarah who?
Connolly.
Okay.
I believe that was her name.
Okay.
But I can find her actual name in a minute. I believe it was that though. Anyway, she posted on Twitter saying like I couldn't care if someone burned down these migrant hotels, and she got like arrested and sent to prison for it.
Okay, hold on. Let's see. Okay, so let's see. Woman jailed over racist migrant hotel tweet after Southport stabbings is denied temporary release to see daughter 12 and ailing husband. So let's see.
Oh, Lucy Connolly. Sorry.
Yep, Lucy Connolly. Let's see. Connolly's post, which she later deleted, read mass deportations now. Set fire to all the fucking hotels full of the bastards for all I care. If that makes you racist,
so it's not a threat.
What do you mean that's not a threat? She literally said set fire to all the fucking hotels. She's hoping someone does violence. She could have said if they set fire to the hotels, I could care less, but that's definitely a threat. She's inciting violence. What do you mean?
There was also a guy who was jailed for shouting the N-word, just like in the street.
Because that's hate speech.
Yeah, but like in America, you wouldn't get arrested for that.
I wish they would. Like, what do you mean? That's the thing. We should not be able to slur at other people and do hate speech for any reason whatsoever. Right? Because there actually was a guy. So here's the thing. So our First Amendment protects us from the government. It doesn't protect us from consequences. Okay? So for example, Chud the Builder. When Chud the Builder approached a black man, called him an N-word to his face, and then that black man hit him, and Chud shot him, guess who went to jail in that scenario?
Chud, I believe.
Chud, right. Because Chud incited the violence.
His bail was set at like $250K.
No, it was set at like $1 million. But you only have to pay like a quarter.
No, the 250 was someone tried to donate 250 to him.
Right. But
and they didn't allow it.
So Chud went to jail because you can't say that you shot a man in self-defense when you incited the violence by using the N-word. Now, if somebody went to, like, fucking the lawn of the White House and started shouting the N-word, they're not going to be arrested, right? Because, like, are they calling the White House an N-word? That's not, like, hate speech. It's weird. But, like, that's not hate speech whatsoever, right? Like, it's not inciting any type of violence. Because our First Amendment protects us from the government. I could say Donald Trump is a giant piece of shit, and I hope he gets everything he deserves, and the FBI can't kick in my door and arrest me for that.
Whereas, like in the UK, if you might get like arrested, or you wouldn't get charged, but you probably get arrested for saying that in the UK. Like, obviously not about Trump, but about the Prime Minister. They really do not care. They'll arrest you for anything.
They'll arrest you for anything. It's wild. I don't believe that's true. I like you came up here and you tried to frame this thing as if you said something against the government in the UK, you would be arrested. But yet your examples of this are people using hate speech to incite violence and make threats not against the government but against other people. Oh shoot, guys. Braven, I'm so sorry. Braven, you have a pocket redact because I did not see your $10 for my penny. Thank you so much, Braven, to start off the goal for the day.
Okay. So this is the UK's illegal posting, direct threats. Fair enough. Harassment, sending repeated unwanted or menacing messages to target someone. False communication, spreading known lies intended to cause serious physical harm or mental health or mental harm. Contempt of court, posting details that risk ruining an active criminal trial. But the harassment one is like, I could post like, oh, I hate this guy, he's a dickhead, and whatnot. If I kept doing it, then harassment.
So read the harassment one again.
Yeah, let me get it up. Okay, spreading repeated, unwanted, or menacing messages to target someone.
Okay, spreading repeated, unwanted, or menacing messages to target someone. So if you're like tagging a person in a post consistently and saying like menacing things, like you're gonna torment this person, etc., etc., that is harassment. That's absolutely harassment. What do we mean?
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's everyone's gone a bit too soft.
Are you
there's a certain point where it's just a bit.
Hold on, Harry, are you a racist?
Yeah. No, I wouldn't consider myself one, but people have called me one.
Well, so in your repost, can you explain to me how in your repost you have a video that says African American women, when you tell them to actually contribute to society instead of being fat, having abortions, and twerking all day?
I reposted it because it was funny, not that it reflects my view.
Can you explain the joke for me? What's funny?
I just found it quite hilarious.
But what part of it is hilarious?
It doesn't reflect my view.
So jokes are supposed to be funny, right? So and you just said that you found this funny, which means that it is in your purview, at least a little bit. Can you explain the punchline to me? Like, what part of this is funny?
I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory.
It's not, actually. It's not. I mean, I think the only way that I could find this funny is if I had racist beliefs without the understanding that African American women, who are the largest educated demographic in, like, the history of the fucking world, were survivors of things like redlining and eugenics, and that's why they did things like have the most abortions per capita because they grew up in poverty-stricken areas that white people put them in. Etc., 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 right? Like, we could go into the nuance of all of the things that make this racist joke, right, funny, in your opinion, but I would really like for you to explain to me the punchline since you're not racist, right?
I mean, like, I don't think I'm racist, but
let's find out. Let's just do a little let's do a little social experiment here. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put up a poll. We're just going to do the smiley face. Smiley face is in the chat if Harry here is a racist. Sad face is in the chat. Or no, here. Smiley face is in the chat if that post is racist that Harry reposted. Therefore,
I'm not denying it's racist. Of course it is.
So you're okay with racism and reposting and sharing racism?
No. I just posted it for comedic reasons. Like, it doesn't reflect my personal view.
Smiley faces if he's a racist. Sad faces if he's not a racist. Let's go. It doesn't reflect my personal view, but I'm gonna push it further into the algorithm under my name. But that be so fucking.
I mean, it seems overwhelming.
Yeah, it's almost like people think you're a racist.
Well, I mean,
because what you did was racist.
I mean, like, if you make a sexist joke, does that mean that you hate women?
No, but it makes you
Of
a
course not.
sexist.
Well, of course not. Like if I said to you, how do you see the world from a woman's point of view? Look out the kitchen window, right? If I just said that, doesn't mean it doesn't reflect my personal views on women, right? Does it? No, it's a joke.
What's
It's you,
funny?
you know,
What's funny? Because so hold on. So saying that, are you showing prejudice towards women and the whole thing of where women belong in the kitchen? That whole
yeah.
ideology, right? So yeah. So the definition of sexism is what? Because it's not the hate against women. Right? You don't have to hate women to be sexist. You have to show some form of prejudice or discrimination against women, which you just did in your joke. So if this is funny
Yeah,
to you, if this is funny
but
to
it
you,
doesn't
it's
reflect my
because you
personal
show
view.
you show some sort of prejudice or discrimination against people of color, which makes you racist.
I mean, the funny thing is actually that's not even like one of the worst reposts I have.
So you're just
That's
racist.
somewhat.
Got it. Cool.
Well, of course not. Like
Then how is it
it
funny?
doesn't
Explain the
reflect
joke.
my.
Explain the joke. What's the funny part?
Yeah, yeah. So
Here,
it's just
I'll repeat
reducing
it.
black
Here,
women down to
I'll repeat.
abortions working.
So that's funny. Reducing black women down to abortion and twerking is funny when black women have put in the most work to move away from the racist rhetoric. That's you're not helping yourself, Harry. You're not helping yourself there.
Yeah, for sure. But
You
yeah,
should
no,
probably go through
I
your
don't
reposts and like clean that shit up.
probably that would be smart, correct? I agree.
Guys, as always, it's $10 hairs to pop and op, or $50 hairs to permaban, just for the record.
Well, don't permaban me. I feel like that'd be a bit mean. But there is something I would like to discuss with you, actually.
Hold on 2 seconds.
Something
Hold on 2
engaging.
seconds.
That I think.
2 seconds, Harry.
Sorry,
Harry, 2 seconds. Because someone
you're good.
sent me the video and said the audio makes it worse. So hold on, let's check this out. Harry.
Yeah. I see how it's bad. I do. But there is something.
There's no but. There's no but. There's no but. So that was the audio from the video that says African American women, when you tell them to actually contribute to society instead of being fat, having abortions, and twerking all day. And then it is I couldn't tell from the screenshot because it's like a poorly like small like animated image. But once I heard the sound, I could tell it was a monkey trashing a room. So just really racist. Super racist. Hey Michael, are you a Trump supporter?
No,
Can I have your age for TikTok?
absolutely. 22.
And what do you disagree with something on the background?
Well, would it be something that you had not with the Harry guy, but the previous woman about the whole Palestine stuff? Because one thing I want to address is that you keep on saying, like, what are you doing to go help the Palestinian people? But I would like to ask one question for you.
Sure.
How comes none of the countries bordering, Palestine, like all the Middle Eastern countries, like, Jordan, Iran, all those countries, how comes they are refusing to take any Palestinian refugees?
Why would
Like, they
want
refuse to.
anything? Palestinians shouldn't need a refugee from a genocide that's happening right now.
So, Emma, here's the thing. So, with Ukraine and Russia, you understand that Poland, for example, and I'm Polish, we have taken millions of Ukrainian refugees to go help the civilians while the Ukrainian military is fighting the Russians, right? You understand that a bunch of countries from Europe have also been taking Ukrainian refugees, which, I agree. The refugees shouldn't have to even like exist. But in a time of war and stuff, if you're trying to help out all the civilians and stuff, like you're saying, wouldn't you say that taking them as refugees would be an astounding way to prevent deaths? Would you not agree on that?
How many Ukrainian refugees have been taken in?
So from Poland alone, because Poland is my country, we have taken in millions. I want to say 2 to 3 million Ukrainian refugees, and you can look that up if you'd like to.
Let's see. From what
And
time
again,
to what time? So hold on. So here's the thing, right? At the end of the day, I don't debate Israel and Palestine. right? Like, so, like, Penny and I tried to keep it super service level because Penny is super pro-Israel, and, like, that's her opinion. Whatever. My only point to this entire thing, I don't care about anything else. Why are we as a country in America continuing to send weapons and money to a country that is using those weapons and money to kill children?
I completely agree. And look, so again, maybe I should have clarified. I am like, like an immigrant. I was born in Poland and I live in America right now. I absolutely despise Israel as the government and stuff. I believe we should not be sending any money to them. It's clear that, unfortunately, for both Democrats and Republicans, Israel is just basically, in our entire government, they're saying. I think it's disgusting and there needs to be a change done. I absolutely do agree on that, but I guess what made me want to come up was because you were saying, what are you doing as that? And as much as I despise Israel, at the same time, looking at what I know from the conflict.
So the reason why I say that to Penny, right, is because Penny hosts a live almost every single day with a background where she is very pro-Israel.
Okay, never mind. That changes things then.
Yeah. So my issue there is that we're not denouncing the bad behavior. We're hosting pro-Israeli lives, right? So we're actually working against the Palestinians in that instance, which is problematic in my opinion.
All right.
Does that make more sense?
Yeah, it makes more sense, because I was going to get to a few more things, like how a lot of the Middle Eastern countries, like, they don't want to accept them, but they want to continue, like, sending, like, military support, like, like, specifically Hamas, just to go and, like, attack, sorry, let me reiterate, because my brain just kind of shut down. So again, what they're trying to do is that they're trying to explicitly fund all the military, like Hamas, like those kinds of things, to go do military attacks against Israel, while refusing to take in any of the civilians. Which, if you want to go and support the military, you know what, fine, whatever. It's like, they have been doing terrorist attacks against Israel, which is kind of the whole reason why they've been doing it. Does it justify what Israel's doing right now? Absolutely not. But I guess, my whole critique was, if you're going to tell an American, what are you doing to go help the children and stuff like that,
right,
I would say, wouldn't it kind of fall more so on the Middle Eastern countries that refuse to take any civilians whatsoever without exception, while continuing to, fund the military, which is, as much as I don't want to say it, Hamas is a terrorist organization.
Like, I'm never going to be a person that says I'm an expert in this conversation whatsoever, because, like, for me, Israel and Palestine is a conversation I tend to not have. I'm pro-Palestine all the way from the river to the sea, period. My issue is it becomes too much of a heated conversation for me, because there are Palestinian people that I know, that I care about, that I allow in my space every single day to attempt to get them some donations so they can feed their families. I've interacted with their children. My child has interacted with their children. And as somebody who has a small child, I just devolve into literal blubber every time I have this conversation, because, like, it hurts. So, like, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm super educated on the Israeli-Palestine conflict whatsoever, because I'm not. But, like, I do think it is black and white that what is happening today in 2026 is not okay.
So Emma, just real quick question. Like, are you sure that the people you're speaking with are, like, actually from Palestine? And,
yes. We've had them vetted. Yes.
Okay, just want to be sure. Okay, that's all. Okay. I'm not, like, trying to say that they're, fake, but just to be sure, I want to be sure, that we're...
Okay. Yeah, I understand completely. Thank you, Michael. But thank you for coming up, and I hope you have a great day, okay?
You too. Bye.
I cannot breathe through my nose, chat. Guys, so we've been live for 1 hour and 3 minutes, and we're only at 30,000 likes and only $10 into this goal. We can do better than that. What are we doing? I think that was Gabby. Gabby, you're not loading in. If you're still here, please request back up. Hello, Mohammed. Hopefully we can have you up later today. Hello, Loki. Are you a Trump supporter?
No, Trump is one of the worst things to happen to the U.S. in, like, forever.
W. Can I have your age for TikTok?
Yeah, 36.
I don't even need to know what to say. Sorry. What do you disagree with on the background?
Okay. Let's see. Okay.
Wait, why were you in the queue? Hold on. What were you in the queue?
It's the first. So the first one, yeah. So the first one is what I have a disagreement with.
Okay.
I don't think it's all men till it's no men. I don't think generalizing a group of people by the actions of few is the way to go. For example, I wouldn't say that most prom night dumpster children are from women, and I wouldn't say all women are doing that.
Okay, hold on. That's such a silly thing to say. Okay. Have you heard of the "It's all men till it's no men" movement at all?
I've heard of the saying many, many times. I don't know about the movement specifically. I'm
Okay.
not inside the United States
So, oh,
at the
okay.
moment.
So it is a movement, and it's actually like, from my understanding, pretty worldwide. There are people outside of the United States who are also saying it's all men till it's no men. So let's say, Loki, you and me are besties. We're hella tight. We've got like a secret handshake and everything type of tight, right? And we're going to a potluck. You bring something savory, I bring something sweet. So I've got this massive bowl full of Skittles, and I'm like, hey, Loki, don't eat any of these Skittles. I took 5 Skittles that are poisoned and I put them in this bowl. Are you going to eat any of the Skittles?
I love Skittles, so this is like the worst argument. Uh, sorry, if you put tropical Skittles in front of me, I will eat it. I don't care what's in it. I
He
will
said,
eat
I'm
tropical
dying.
Skittles.
Okay, so it's not Skittles, it's M&Ms, and there's 5 poison
Okay.
M&Ms. Are you going to eat
Peanut
any of the
M&Ms. Peanut
M&Ms?
M&Ms. No, no, it doesn't seem like the risk versus reward is good there.
Right. Are you going to tell people about the poisoned M&Ms?
Of course.
Okay. So in this scenario, when we talk about it's all men till it's no men, like what we're discussing is that the number one perpetrators of violence around the world are men, whether that be violence against other men, violence against women, violence against non-binary persons, and everybody in between. The number one perpetrators of violence are men. That is just proven. So
That's
what we're
true.
asking, so we're not saying that like good men don't exist, right? We're simply saying that until those good men stand beside us and start doing things like calling out their buddies for their bad behavior, like catcalling women on the street, or like showing each other like their girlfriend or their like partner or whoever they're talking to at the time's nudes, for like their gaze lingering a little too long on like a young woman in a mall, right? That it's going to be all men till it's no men. We also know that men benefit the most from the patriarchy. So it'd be nice to have you guys help us dismantle that as well, because all we want is safety and equality in a world that we exist, that we can't leave, right? None of us can leave this big floating rock. So the least we can
Not
fucking
yet.
do is make it safe and equal, right?
Hey, I'm an egalitarian. I went to PTA League of Women Voters meetings with my mom when I was young. I'm all for equality, and as I said, I'm egalitarian.
Right. So
But
that's
I
all
don't
we're saying.
think well, yeah, sort of. Yeah, I mean, I agree with the overall goal, but the rhetoric is the big problem. Just like saying I agree with feminism and the egalitarian, but the feminists who hold up cups that say like male tiers and stuff like that, it gets more into the not we're not looking to be equal, we're looking to be more so.
Haley, thank you for the
And
$5 for I'm finally back enough for an ooh woo. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
oh yeah, no problem. I mean, for example, if we look at like I'm sure you would say that America is a patriarchy at the moment, right?
Absolutely.
And you would say that in a patriarchy, men are are promised better outcomes than women in
Yes.
general. Would you
Right.
agree with that? Okay. So if we say that, then how can we say that the America is a patriarchy? The United States are a sorry, it's really late for me where I am. So how can we say America is a patriarchy when if we look at the amount of people going to college, women are now 60% of the college population and men are only 40%. A huge out, which is really bad. Which is really bad. It should be 50-50, I think.
Right. But that's just because men aren't applying for college at the same rate women are. What we would actually have to look at here is the after college, right? Because women are paying for college the same way men are paying for college. Whereas once you get that degree, you expect to be paid for that degree. So men and women in those same fields with the same degree, with the same amount of experience, are not getting paid equally. And like women tend to
Um,
be more overlooked than men, especially since Donald Trump overturned the DEIA policies, because what we know is that DEIA benefited white women the most, right? So women are being paid 80 cents on the dollar compared to their male counterparts. That's the patriarchy.
no, that's not. So that number's not true. The wage gap is a aggregate of all the men working and all the women working. And in fact, if we look now, women on payroll are making more money than men are.
Show me a source of that.
Sure. second. Just finding that article.
So this is updated July 21st, 2026. Women made about 82 cents for every dollar men made as of the second quarter.
I'm sorry,
of
what site is
2026.
this?
So this is usafacts.org. We have all the sources down here at the bottom that we'll go over in just a moment. We'll go
Sure.
over the methodology of everything. So this means that men with full-time jobs typically make 21% more than women in full-time jobs. The ratio compares the median weekly pay of full-time workers, people who usually work 35 hours or more a week. So women made 82 cents for every dollar earned by men full-time in quarter 2 of 2026.
And that's if you take, hold on, before, sorry, we can keep going, but before we move on from that statistic, that's all men working and all women working,
Yes.
right? We agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. And we agree that men work jobs that pay more usually than women, like oil rigs, oil drillers.
So hold on. So
things of
that's
that
not what
nature,
this
right?
is comparing. So this is
No.
not
I'm talking about that statistic.
Stop. Because women also work in oil fields. Women also work in construction.
Not at the same level.
Stop. You can't prove anything of what you're saying. I'm showing you an actual source right now from the Bureau.
You're misreading the source.
I'm not misreading the source.
Yes, you are. What does it say?
Show me where in the source it goes by type of job. Go pull it up. Pull up the source here. I'll pull this up for you. There you go. This is what you need. Find the source. Show me where in this article it says women are paid less as secretaries compared to men who work the oil fields. Go. I never even brought up types of jobs at all. That wasn't a thing that I brought up. Literally one time. All right, let's see. What is happening? All right, chat. Hold on just a second while we wait for Loki here. Loki, please remember that you're muted. If you would like to unmute, you're just going to click your box and hit the microphone button or hit the microphone button at the bottom of your screen. And let us know where in the source it goes by type of job.
That's the issue.
I have
doesn't.
the source pulled up for you, so it should be really easy for you to find. Also, guys, let's make sure we're tippity tapping the screen, sharing the live, doing all of the good things. We are $15 out of this daily goal. If we could all do the dollar and change train for change, that would be immensely helpful. You guys just go to the link tree in my bio. You can find the CAPP, Vimo, and Buy Me a Coffee. All right, Loki, where in the source does it say that?
It doesn't. That's what my argument is.
Right.
You were listening.
But that wasn't my argument, because you weren't listening to my argument to begin with.
No.
So, again, stop, Loki. I'm going to start utilizing the mute button, because not one time have you let me lay out my argument before assuming what it is.
Can we go point by point? That's all I want to know. Can we just please?
Nobody is not going point by point. You're talking about a point nobody brought up. Nobody brought it up but you, Loki. You still haven't provided a source that women get paid more than men to begin with, and now you're trying to argue against something that I never said.
Right. So what I was so I will bring up the source, no question. But at the same time, when we look at that first number, the 82 cents, you agree it says women earnings per $1 by men full-time workers. Yes? We agree on this? Okay. Does it divide that number? Is it divided by job type, or just all women versus all men? The answer is all women versus all men. That's the answer.
What do you mean? So it's based off the current population survey from the Bureau of Labor Statistics right here. Okay?
Yes. And is it divided by job?
Are you going to continue to cut me off every time I go to speak?
Sorry.
Let's no. Shut the fuck up, respectfully. All you have to do is stop talking.
I didn't curse at you.
Okay, have a good one, Loki. Have a fucking good one. It's so funny, chat, how instead of being involved in a conversation that's happening, They make things up about things that are not being said around them, right? And then when trying to ask clarifying questions, they try to cut you off. And then he wants to act like I'm being mean because for the 30,000th time in this conversation, he's cut me off and I said the word fuck. Like, be so for real. I said the word fuck and you're going to be a crybaby about it? Move on. Like, move on. Hey, Lucky, are you a Trump supporter?
Yes, I am, but I'm not an American.
Okay, can I have your age for TikTok?
Yeah, I'm 50 years old.
Okay, and where are you from?
I'm from Israel.
Great. So what part of the background do you disagree with?
Well, actually, I bumped into your live something like 30 minutes ago where you're discussing Israel, and I thought you might need some better opposition with regards to.
No, thank you. I think I've laid the boundary down pretty clear that Israel-Palestine is not something that I talk about. There have been other guests since Penny where I said this is not a thing that I talk about because I'm never going to be on the side of people killing children. Period. Goodness gracious. All right, chat. So I think here's what we're going to do. I think we're going to hit a quick reset because we've been live for an hour and 16 minutes and we're not even at halfway the amount of likes that we are minutes to the live. So let's hit a quick reset. I'm going to go refill my cup of water, make another cup of coffee, and we will BRB, YouTube, Twitch. You guys aren't going anywhere, so just hang out. We'll be back in just a few minutes. All right, guys. Be right back. All right, guys, and we're back. Let's get everything back together. All right. I wish there was timestamps on like the YouTube chat. All right. Let's see. All right. Welcome back, W. Darth, for being first. Welcome back, guys. Let's tap the screen, share the live, do all of the good things. Whew. Sorry, I had to hit the reset, chat. Like, I feel like we were gonna be stuck in an endless loop of, just the topic I didn't want to talk about. You know what I mean? So, I love you guys. Alright, so, Mohammed, I promise I will let you up later on in the show. I have to hit this goal because I've been sick and I haven't been able to be online. So let's go ahead and knock out this goal. And I'm so serious, chat. Like, I have to hit this goal today. I woke up to the worst thing I could have woken up to this morning. So, we had a bad storm last night, which is fine. Whatever, we were fine. But I woke up this morning and I went to go do the duck pool. And you know how, so we have one of those hose like nozzles with like all the various, like the spray, the mist, etc., etc. And when it's not on, the water just stays in the hose, right? It doesn't flow, any extra water, yada yada. There is now a hole in my hose, and I have no idea how long the water was pouring out of my hose. I hope that it happened last night during the storm. I hope it hasn't been days. I am waiting for my water company to call me back and let me know, because my husband forgot to turn the water off to the hose, which wouldn't have been a big deal had our hose not gotten a hole in it. So now I am stressed because I have no idea how long it was going and how much our water bill is going to be. All I know is my backyard is flooded, which is not great. Not great. So, let's make sure we're tapping the screen, sharing the live, doing all of the good things. That sucks. I didn't notice any trees down anywhere, but I'm stressed about this hose. I'm stressed about how much this is going to cost. All right, chat. So let's go over. While we wait for some opposition, guys, let's go over the election results. So we won some and we lost some, okay? I'm just going to put it that way because I know in Wisconsin specifically, we were all rooting for Francesca Hong. So let's see, Wisconsin. And unfortunately, David Crowley secured the Democratic nomination in the primary, which is kind of wild because he had dropped out of the race a couple weeks ago. He re-entered the race, and then he wound up taking it home. And so, although it's not who I know a big chunk of people were hoping for, I don't want to say the majority because very obviously the majority voted for governor. User social security number, why don't you come on up and have a conversation? Like, Crowley is the one who got it. So we will go over Crowley's platform in just a moment. What I really want to talk about is Minnesota specifically. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because, one, the governor's race. Mike Lindell lost. Mike Lindell lost. The MyPillow guy lost the governor's race to oh gosh, what's her name? Amy. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. Let me see. Governor. Not Amy. Lisa DeMuth. Like, Mike Lindell lost to Lisa DeMuth. Amy Klobuchar is the one who secured the Democratic nominee. Yeah, so I had them mixed up. But Mike Lindell lost to Lisa DeMuth by, let's see, 10 points, 11 points, it looks like. Which, I mean, so W, guys, for not voting for the My Pillow guy to be governor of Minnesota. Because, like, what the shit would that have been? Well, of course, some, like, Republicans won their primary, Amber. 'Cause it just depends on if they were being contested or not, right? So my favorite, though, so this is what I want to talk about the most. Because this is how silly this is, and I can't believe I only put 2 and 2 together today. So right here is the Senate candidates. Let's see. So this is for, hold on. Republican Senate county results. What Senate seat is this? Anyway. So the Republican who won the nomination for the Senate seat is going to be Michelle Tafoya. But Royce White right here ran. He was running in Minnesota for the Senate, right? And he only got 11.2% of the votes. Earl, 2 seconds. Oh my goodness. Earl, thank you so much for the $19.56 dumping my Venmo balance for the flood. I appreciate you. So yeah, so Royce White, I was like, why does this name sound so familiar to me? Because I'm looking at the election results, I'm looking at this name, and for the life of me, I'm like, why does this name sound so familiar? Let me update this goal. So as I'm driving to school, as I'm driving Jackson to school this lovely day, right, 34:56. As I'm driving Jackson to school, it's bothering me that I can't recognize where I've heard Royce White before. RJ, this is going to tickle you fucking pink, I think. So, I decide to Google it while I'm waiting in my son's parking lot. I decide to just come over to the Google machine, right? And I say, Royce White. Royce White is a cis man, MAGA Trump supporter, who has thrown his name in for the WNBA draft. Because they think this somehow proves the point that the WNBA can't define or won't define what a woman is. And instead, this is the Republicans proving that they, yet again, have created their own boogeyman. Because by saying they don't want men in women's sports, they have somehow come full circle to 2 men attempting to get drafted into women's sports. So not only did he lose by 40 points in the Senate race, he's actually not a great basketball player to begin with. His stats are actually quite shitty, and now he's trying to be drafted into the Women's National Basketball Association. What are we doing? What is happening? The irony writes itself. Right. It's like, what? I don't understand. I just don't understand. Oh, right. Let's see. But yeah, 134,000 people voted for the My Pillow guy, which is like a problem within itself. We need to deconstruct that to someday. So they don't want trans women in sports, but they want those 2 men in the WNBA. Absolutely, Coolio. That's the thing, right? This is the faux outrage, the hypocrisy of the right, because they are cheering these 2 cis men on in their endeavor of trying to prove what a woman is, while simultaneously creating their own boogeyman of actual men in women's sports. Of like assigned at birth men, they identify as men in women's sports. We also had a cis man arrested in my neighborhood Walmart for taking photos of other men in the men's. Of course you did. That's like, I don't even want to say your state, Hex, but like, I know what state you're in, and of course you did. Of course you did. They made a post about their first wig arriving recently. I hate it. LOL, Florida. Right. I didn't want to say it. Oh my god. I don't understand. I have been resting for 2 days. Thoughts and prayers for Tapley. What happened to Tapley? Hi, freaks. Can I have your age for TikTok?
What's up? I'm 39.
What state are you from?
Texas.
Okay. What happened to Tapley?
Oh, he had a nuclear crash out the other day. Nuclear psychopath crash out. I've been waiting for this to happen for like 2 years, and it finally happened
I
the other
don't really
day.
care about any of that. I thought you meant he had been like harmed or injured or was like unwell in some sort of way.
He
Like
is observably unwell. Yeah,
I
he
don't care
needs
about your
professional
opinions.
help.
Hey. I don't care about your opinions of other content creators. We're not gonna bash somebody who isn't here. Like, I particularly don't run in the same circles
I
as
wouldn't either
Tapley,
if I
but
was.
I would never like talk trash about Tapley, so we're not gonna do that. Do you disagree with anything on the background?
No, I was just saying thoughts and prayers for Tapley.
Right, like, I don't get it. Hi, Joey. Are you a Trump supporter?
No, God, no.
Can I have your age for TikTok?
42.
Oh, what state are you
I
from?
agree with. Oh, I'm from Michigan.
Okay.
So I agree with everything on here, with the exception of the all men thing. I just don't feel like there's ever a possibility of saying it's all men, ending up with with it creating the situation where there is no men. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like it's gonna bring any positive change because it's objectively things like superlatives just kind of take away from the point. It'd be a lot better if you put the statistic up there of how many men it is or roughly how many men it is.
Okay.
Because all it does is alienate the good men and get the good men.
It actually, no, it starts conversations like this one, right? So, like, what is your understanding of the "it's all men until it's no men" movement?
Well, it's like this. There are way too many fucked up men that will do fucked up shit to women for fucked up reasons that I can't comprehend, and you got to have your guard up. You can't just assume that the guy in the room with you is a safe person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't. And I get that. I totally understand that because honestly, it's the same thing with a man. If any man who wants to really look deep inside themselves and look at things, I'm in a room with another man I don't know. I am most definitely sizing that motherfucker up. I am most definitely comparing myself to him and my abilities to him and wondering what would happen in an altercation with him. And to be a woman in that same position has to be fucking horrifying.
So let's put it this way, right? Because like you're spot on with like outside of like the patriarchy also being included in this conversation. You're spot on that this is a movement in which we accept the fact and talk about the fact that men perpetrate the most violence in the world, whether that be against other men, women, or anybody in between, right? That's just a fact.
Yeah, that's 100% fact.
So in this scenario, you and me are best friends, Joey. We've been hanging out since diapers. We have a secret handshake and everything, and we're going to a potluck. You're bringing something savory, I'm bringing something sweet. So I bring a bowl of Skittles, and I'm like, hey, Joey, don't eat any of these Skittles because I love you, man, and I put 5 poison Skittles in this bowl. Are you going to eat any of the Skittles?
Well, no.
No. Are you going to tell anybody else about the poison Skittles?
Goddamn right. I'm going to take the Skittles. I'm going to throw the motherfucking things away, and I'm going to call you on your shit.
Right. So when we talk about it's all men till it's no men, although because my husband used to have the same feelings that you have, that it feels alienating against good men. Until I explained to him that like you, like if you are a good man, if you genuinely are somebody who wants to fight against this to create equality and safe spaces for women, then you are a part of this movement on the right side, right? Because you're going to be the type of man that calls out bad behavior of other men. You're going to be the type of man that openly talks about the wage disparity between men and women and discusses like pay rates in the workplace, because even though companies tell you not to, it's not illegal, and that's how we get equality, right? So we're not trying to alienate you. We're trying to get you to join us so we can eventually put the work on you men to hold other men accountable, so us women can just exist in safety and equality.
Yeah, I totally do see that you know,
So yeah, we're not trying to alienate you. We want you over here with us.
But see, you are the first TikTok host I've been able to express any kind of disagreement with that phrase over and not had them fucking crash out on me. Call me a fucking pedophile, call me a fucking womanizer, a rapist. You know, like, you're the first one that hasn't just crashed out when I gave a little pushback. And I've been on a number of these trying to, get a better viewpoint on it. And mainly because I really do want to be that person that gives the pushback and helps, be a part of the solution instead of a part of the problem. I find it really interesting that you touched on pay rates. I lost my last job because a corporation came in, bought the company I was working for. It's a restaurant. I was a chef. And one of the ways that they told me I had to control my payroll was to get rid of some of my higher paid women workers and hire people in at a lower pay rate, women in at a lower pay rate. And I did not do that. I refused to do that. And I was technically fired for a different reason, how that goes. But that is 100% the reason why I was fired, because I wouldn't hire Mexicans at a lower pay rate, and I wouldn't hire women at a lower pay rate and get rid of the crew I already had. Michigan.
Your right to work state. See, and that's another thing I advocate against, right? These right to work states like Michigan and Indiana, where like your boss can come in and be like, I don't like your ponytail today, you're fired. Like, I have never seen employees' rights be so violated than I do in 2026 because of these loophole laws, like right to work, right? And so, like, again, that's just another system built by the patriarchy that's supposed to, for the most part, benefit, no offense, men who look like you. Sometimes that system does fail. It's just not quite often, right? And it only failed because you did the right thing, right? So it's like, that's part of what we need to get rid of. That's one of the systems that we need to reform to create equity within this country for men, women, and everybody in between.
Oh, you use the right word, too. I like that. You know what equity is, not thinking equality is equity. I like that. It's a rare thing, to be honest.
Well, that's just because we lack deeply in education. That's another system we need to reform in this country. But unfortunately, until we all can find middle ground and come together, it's just going to be one of those situations where we continue to fight against everyone's best interests, unfortunately. Because even when it comes to, like, Republicans and Democrats, right? I think MAGA is too far gone. The people who are the 30% that identify as the cult that is MAGA, those people are too far gone. I think modern day Republicans and modern day Democrats, however, want the same things, just different ways of getting there. And I do think the right is a little more stubborn when it comes to concessions on how we should compromise to get to a point.
Yeah, I'll agree there. I like that you have the Citizens United on your thing, too. That's pretty awesome that you recognize the huge issue that Citizens United is. And I think that's the biggest thing in our Democrat and Republican, our bipartisan government, is that they are all about corporations, both sides.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And as long as they are, and as long as corporations have the same rights as you and I do to lobby and to put money into people's political campaigns and legally bribe people, we will never get away from this terrible system that we're in. Citizens United is the one piece of legislation that keeps us shackled by corporations.
Agreed. And I also think, though, that's why right now all eyes are on the DSA. Because the DSA is the only party that's like, hey, if corporations, which I mean, like, they just feel this way in general because of socialism. But if you genuinely think about it, the DSA advocating for corporations to be publicly owned would put the power back into the hands of the people when it came to Citizens United, which is why the old school Democratic Party, the DNC, has spent so much money to try to silence or get rid of progressive or DSA candidates. And the Republicans, of course, are helping with that because they just don't want anything with the term Democrat around anything to exist.
Yes, well, and they've created a situation in which any political party can step in and just say all the right things and just get all the votes. And I'm not saying that's what the DSA is, but I'm saying that they are saying the right things to people, but the things that people really want to hear.
Right. And again, though, that goes back to, like, education, right? Because it's like every political party or political person has always said all of the things that you want to hear. It sounds good on paper, but not understanding how our systems work and how legislation genuinely gets passed, they get upset when a candidate can't keep all their promises because they don't understand the system as a whole. They don't understand that this person that they voted for, although they want to do these things, it's a matter of, can they do these things? Is this something they can actually accomplish given how many seats in the House are Democrat, Republican, et cetera, et cetera?
And what parts of their values are they willing to compromise in order to achieve this goal they promised too? Because I mean, like, there's never a time when a bill goes up in front of any legislative, body that isn't more full of issues, amendments, and legislation pertaining to things other than the subject of the bill. It's like they're so huge and convoluted. So you get these headlines like, all these Democrats voted against women's rights, and then you read it and it's like, yeah, they did vote a bill down that was about women's rights. But if you read into the bill, it's got water rights and AI, data center legislation in it, and shit about cattle and schools and all this other stuff, not just women's rights. And they have to, vet that and vote down on it because, oh, sure, we're going to get our women's rights things, but we read this little line here that says that, something else terrible can happen.
Right. No, and that's 100%. I think there should be a law put in place that when it comes to our Congress as a whole, both the House and the Senate, that when they write this legislation, when they do these things, that the bill should be pertaining to what the bill is about. It shouldn't be 1,000 pages of healthcare and taxes and immigration and foreign aid all together. Like, because that's how we wind up in a situation where, like, when the big beautiful bill passed last year, we had numerous Republicans and Democrats come forward. Like, Marjorie Taylor Greene was like, I didn't even read the part about not being able to regulate AI for 10 years because it was 1,000+ page bill.
And it's one line.
Right. And so it's like, that's a problem within itself. Like, we're trying to nitpick all of these regulatory issues when it comes to, like, the EPA and the FDA, and, like, I understand that we want clean air, we want clean food, but why are we not regulating our government the same way that if you guys want to pass things, I'm not saying it should be single issue bills, but the things should at least be related to one another.
Well, right, because you pass a bill on one thing and it can affect a lot of other things, and they have to be included in the bill, and that is part of why it gets that way. But you're right, it should be way simpler. Single subject bills are not a possible thing, but it should be way simpler.
But having like AI and immigration in the same bill doesn't make sense.
No, and then they're not given enough time to actually vet these bills. A lot of times they have to sit down and vote on these bills, and they get 15 minutes to look over 9 bills.
Which is wild. That within itself is a problem.
And they say, oh, we don't have the time to do this. But you know what? We do have the time to do this because they're spending literally half the year on vacation.
Right. Meanwhile, they have access to things like universal health care that we pay for
the rest of their life and for their entire family.
They get paid better than we do. I think every congressperson on a federal level, every senator on a federal level should get paid the same amount as what their average constituent makes in their state.
Yeah, at the most, like a 5% increase on that.
Mm-hmm.
Something like $55,000 a year would be a decent salary for a legislator, considering the fact that they have so much provided for them by us on our tax dollar. Their transportation, their homes in a lot of cases, their health care. They're getting all kinds of meals and travel expenses paid for,
Absolutely. Like I mean, I understand maybe there being like a difference in pay because you have to sort of like live in two places, and the cost of living in DC versus where like I live in rural Indiana is obviously going to be crazy.
Right, yeah.
So like I can understand that, but it's like at the end of the day, if the fact that my representative right now, I call my representatives every single day. I leave voicemails every single day for the past year and a half that we've been in this nonsense now, and I haven't heard back not a letter, not an email, not a phone call in a year and a half. That's a problem to me.
All I get is campaign emails. Like whenever I write an email or call someone, I never get a response to what I wrote about, but I will end up on their mailing list for donations and shit like that.
Right. Like, you want my money. Meanwhile, I'm calling you every day about how, like, Mike Braun, for example, my governor, canceled the Summer Bucks program that fed children who got free and reduced lunch, who qualified for free and reduced lunch at school. They got a specific amount of food stamps for the summer to be able to still remain fed. He canceled that program 2 years in a row to build a personal helipad at his house to make it to and from the governor's mansion easier.
Yeah, we got that here in Michigan, the summer EBT food program, and
I
they
hate
give you
it.
X amount of dollars per kid. And
Yeah.
and well, also the thing about it is, I think that this legislation came about before we had universal free lunches in Michigan.
Right.
Like every kid in Michigan public schools gets free lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And
As
so
it
like
should be.
I didn't qualify before for free lunches. But I still get the little white card in the mail every summer with a couple $100 on it, you know. And but there's nothing I can do about it. You can't even like turn it down.
Right.
You could
So-
not spend it, and eventually it'll end up back in
Right.
the system, I assume. But honestly, I just bought a bunch of proteins with it and put them in the freezer. Like
Right. Quick question before I let you go, because I am looking to talk to people who disagree, and you sound like you're pretty agreeable. Are you voting for our guy? Are you voting for our guy up there this year? How you voting for midterms? Abdul Al Sayed?
Oh, I voted Al Sayed. You know what? I almost missed the vote because my city is Muskegon, with the one that the fucking president mentioned in his little emergency address speech for voter fraud.
Okay.
Yeah, fucking shit's changed here big time since then. By the way, it's scary. There's ice every fucking where. But they had on every government website the wrong fucking day for the primary.
That's insane.
Yeah, insane. And like, so I called like, hey, what the fuck? And I got screenshots of multiples. And the lady's like, oh, it's somebody else's fault. I'll fix it right away. And I'm like, well, okay, great. But I also need to know where the hell I vote, because they restructured everything as to where you vote now. And so I don't even know where I vote, and neither does my county.
Oh,
If my neighbor across the street wouldn't have been able to tell me where to vote, I wouldn't have been able to go vote in the primary, because I wouldn't have known where.
Oh my god.
And my government couldn't tell me where. So I sent all this information to our local news station, and crickets. Straight up crickets.
Damn, dude. Joey, this was a great conversation. I appreciate you, and I hope
It
you
really
have a good
was. I
day.
got you a follow, and I'll be back on your live eventually, or at least popping on to share it and like it,
Nice. Sounds great. You have a great day, man.
Yep, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Joey was kind of awesome, guys. All right, chat. Let's go. You guys, we did it again. We dropped the ball. We're 27 minutes in. We're at 13,000 likes. Why do you guys just stop tapping the screen? Like, is there a reason? Am I doing something wrong? Chat doesn't listen to me. Oh no. Alright guys, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna hit one more reset. I'm gonna run off and use the restroom. TikTok, YouTube, you stay right there, nothing's gonna happen. And then we're gonna come back and we're gonna tap this screen. BRB chat. Alright, we're back. Let's go. Oh, my goodness gracious. Guys, not being able to breathe through my nose really sucks. It's making my asthma way worse. Okay. All right. Let's tap the screen. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Let's immediately start tapping the screen, sharing the live. Doing all the good things. You're okay, Winnie. You're fine. Let's frickin' go. Let's get ready to rumble. Let me turn off this box, guys. I'm so sick. I just want to go lay down, but I cannot because I've laid down the past 2 days. I quit the show early the last 2 days, which means we haven't hit the goal. And unfortunately, I'm stressed. I need the water company to call me back and let me know. Twizzle, the YouTube, you can find it in the link tree in my bio. It's Front Porch Politics. We are live right now over on the Tuba Views. But yeah, I need my water company to call me back because I'm freaking stressed. You're very welcome, Twizzle. Guys, let's tap the screen, share the live. Let's freaking go. I am helping. I've got you guys down here. I am double tapping the screen. I feel a little better, Bethy, than I did the past 2 days, but my tonsils are still pretty swollen. And I can't breathe through my nose. So that really sucks. It's all good, Jamie. All good. I'm surprised you don't have a well for your water. Honestly, me too. The last caller, they were in Minnesota, I believe. No, Michigan. Michigander. What was insane to hear? The last caller was Joey. He was pretty good. Joey was pretty cool. Guys, I'm really excited. So I found this yesterday at the Dollar General. It says hi with this little flower. I don't know if you guys remember, but one of my fans last year bought me a neon sign that says Emma. So I'm going to put it on this wall behind me and then light it up once we have our name change back. So yeah, let's make sure we're tapping the screen, guys. Let's freaking go. Oh, I wish I could breathe. Guys, if you disagree with something on the background, please request up. If you're over on the Tuba Use and the Twitch and you disagree with something on the background, just call the phone number at the bottom of your screen. It's going to connect you directly to me. Minnesota turned out last night. We're going to send the first Indigenous woman to Senate. I love that. Hi, Chicken O'Core. What up, Dean? Oh my goodness gracious. Let's tap the screen, guys. Let's freaking go. And then once we get ahead on the likes, I can get into some MAGA hunting. In case we don't get anyone else in here to have conversations today. Hi, Jody. I forgot I changed my name to that. Way better than the hearts. The bubbles are cute. I still see hearts on my TikTok studio, though. But I see the bubbles on my screen. Auto tapper engaged. Heck yeah. RJ gave me permission. W everybody for asking RJ before just changing their name, right? Like, I texted RJ personally and was like, hey, so I want to go on with this joke because Judy's about to expire, but I want to make sure that you and Jamie are okay with it. Because at the end of the day, like, I respect RJ's wife as well, right? And so RJ was like, I don't see it being a problem. Go for it. So, W's. Hi, Gen X. Good morning. Guys, I can't breathe through my face. I can't breathe through my face when it's allergy season. That doesn't even make sense. Sorry. Jamie is so lovely and way better than RJ. That's a fact. That is an absolute fact. RJ shot out of his league with that one. Hello? Why are we not tapping? What is happening? Jamie, thank you for the $5 for I get paid tomorrow, and I've been vacationing at my bestie Pooh's house. W, vacationing at your bestie's house. I love that for you. So we are at 39. There we go, chat. All right, let's see. I'm going to open up the multi-guest box just in case. RJ definitely should have changed his name to Hi Judy's husband whenever he had the chance. Or Hi RJ Okor. Whenever I started the Hi_name cult. But he didn't do that. But now his profile picture says Ripcord because somebody read his name wrong. Which is just so funny. Why is it not letting me tap the screen? This is making me very angry. Hello? It doesn't show that I'm tapping the screen at all. That's weird. I don't like that. Alright, guys, let's keep going. We're at 5 minutes and 5,000 likes. Let's freaking go. Let's push through so I can get into some MAGA hunting. Guys, the man who's threatening Judy from Rolett, Texas with charges is on Tyler Stokes' panel right now. Which, as you guys know, they just lose their minds whenever you just bring up my name. The fact that there are a handful of you, by the way, who are chaos incarnate on this internet, who, when I'm not online, sometimes go into MAGA lives and just say W Emma, you guys are the MVPs, and I want you to know that. Because that shit's so funny to me. Like, the way they just crash out at the mere sight of my name. That's like my favorite thing to do is wild. Wild chat. Alright, let's look into some Trump lives. But yeah, if anyone wants to go over to Tyler Stokes and just say W Emma real quick, they'll lose their mind about it. It's hilarious. Let's see. It's always a W for Emma. I'm blocked out now. That's hilarious. Do 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 do. Norse is there. Norse is gonna do it. I see him. And then there it is. There's the WMO. Watch, they're gonna lose their
I
minds.
think you have your hand on your phone, like where your speaking is, because you're very, very, very low.
Yeah, you gotta speak up. Nobody can hear you.
Is it better now?
Mm.
Hello.
No.
It may be your Bluetooth is really not working correctly.
Hey, Susan.
Hey, Mercy, how are you?
Hey, Susan, how's it going?
It's okay,
Hi,
Tyler.
Susan.
Hey,
I'm
y'all.
looking, guys. I'm looking for a live.
Oh my God,
lady.
Susan. This guy at Paisley, he was making no sense at all.
There's
I
a
was
stop sign
listening
there,
down
dumbass.
below.
Oh, lady, whoa. Who are you saying that to? What the hell?
Sounds like my mom.
Advised me this morning.
Sounds like we
Sorry,
shouldn't
I thought
drive
it was
and be on
on mute.
TikTok
I was
Live.
yelling at a car.
Yeah, she said, there's a stop sign, dumbass.
Let's
Sounds like my mom, to
go.
be honest. Although she flips them off. And says a lot more than dumbass.
Thank you, Jemima.
Too funny.
Yep.
So, Gregory, does that make any sense? You was talking about the DSA and all. Does that make any sense as to what I said?
I didn't hear anything Mercy said.
Okay, can you hear me now? I was on mute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I don't think this country is leaning towards that direction.
Roughhouse Genetics, come up here. Come up here and let's talk about that seriously. Hold on, chat. Hold on.
my kids. What the hell are you talking about? Guys, if you could drop a red heart if you're on the right, if you're MAGA, conservative, Republican, if you consider yourself center right, if you support Donald Trump, drop a red heart. And if you're on the left, if you're one of those leftist freaks, look at all these red hearts that are about to pop up, you little freaks. Your blue hearts are not going to beat the red hearts on the left. See, look at them, red heart right there, red heart, red heart. Thanks, guys. Show those left-leaning freaks.
Hold on. Let's check this guy out for a second.
Are you a Mossad agent? I can see that shit through you, my guy.
How the hell do people do that? Is that a gift? Is that a gift when people do the music? Because it's super annoying.
Hey,
Sorry.
are you a Mossad agent? I can see that shit through you.
A Mossad agent? So I'm an agent of Iran, apparently. Or Israel, whatever. Oh yeah, Mossad. Sorry about that. Got my country switched up. It's early, folks. I haven't drank my whole cup of coffee yet. What the hell? Thanks for whoever sent that gift. I was just joking that it was annoying.
So, for the record, guys, and I should have clipped it when I did it. I don't think I was doing MAGA hunting yet, but I had a conversation with this guy before, and I proved him wrong on like a bunch of things. And he was like, "Yeah, well, I'll look into it. I'll do my research more. You really taught me a lot." And I wonder if he ever did. But like, where I fucked up, right, is I can't ask him about it because I didn't write down the things that we talk about, and I didn't clip it. But he doesn't know a lot about a lot. He knows a little about nothing.
Why don't you turn on your camera if you want to talk about my face? I'll give you access right now. Hold on. There.
My shit's broken.
Oh, your camera's broken?
Low key.
Oh, okay. I've never heard of anybody breaking their camera on their phone, actually.
Nah, dude, I dropped
Never
it a
heard
couple
of
days
that?
ago.
Not once.
Okay, so you want to come up here and talk shit about my facial features, but you don't have the fucking balls to be a man to pop up here on the camera yourself?
Dude, you're a Jew.
Oh,
okay,
let's
so
not be
you don't
gross.
have the balls to come up here and show yourself, do you?
Dude, but you're a Jew.
All right. This is going nowhere. This guy's too much of a pussy to come up here and turn on his camera. A little freak. Hello.
Oh, god damn it.
Oh, oopsie. Next guest. Hi, Emma.
Hi, how are we?
I'm doing good. Emma, it's good to speak to you.
Yeah, you remember talking to me before?
I do, folks. We have a famous right-leaning. I haven't had all my coffee yet. A famous left-leaning TikTok. I was gonna say bro, but you're whatever you identify as. But that we've got a famous TikToker up here that's on the left. We've had debates before. One of them, she's really respectful, and I actually like her style, so she's welcome here anytime.
Nice, awesome. Like, I appreciate that, Chris. That's really cool of you. So, like, what are we talking about today? How's MAGA winning?
Well, I was kind of hoping to get your take a little before we get into the jabs and the punching. What do you think? So the Senate right now, Republicans hold 53 seats in the Senate. Dems need to take 4 seats in the Senate to overtake it in the midterms. Midterms are 82 days away. In the House, there's 218 Republicans, 212 Democrats, and Dems only need 3 seats to take the House. What do you think about that?
I think we're definitely taking the House. The Senate, I go back and forth on, because I think Tallarico's taking it in Texas, and I think Al Sayed's going to take it in Michigan for sure. Yeah. But I don't know if we're going to get those other 2 to 3 seats that we need, which at the end of the day, right, we would actually need more than that, unless we want to get stuck in a constant filibuster.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
I just don't know if we're going to be able to push the threshold for that in the Senate.
Yeah, but everything's working against my side because statistically, the president that holds the House has always lost the House. So there's that, because ultimately the left is really fired up right now. That's what I see about them to go out and vote. And I fear that MAGA is going to sit back kind of like fat cats because we got the White House, the House, and the Senate right now, and so that's what I fear is not enough people are going to go out and vote for the House, so that's a really contested race, and we'll see what happens. But all the numbers and all the data would lean that the left are going to take the House, and I don't know what's going to happen. But I hope the right does. But the Senate, I think you're right on the Senate. There's only a couple of really competitive races, and they would need 4 seats to take the Senate. So yeah. Anyways, yeah, I just wanted your take on that. But
I mean, I'm really excited to see how it turns out in the midterm elections. I know specifically, like, so the rumor is, right, and I would say the majority of the time this has happened, but not like every time historically, is that whatever party the president, is, they lose the House to the opposing party. Because we see this back with, like, Bill Clinton throughout his presidency. It remained a Republican House and Senate his entire presidency. I almost said pregnancy. Jesus. I'm on coffee too, Chris. I'm working on it.
Right.
And George W. Bush retained a mostly Republican House and Senate for the majority of his presidency as well. And so, I mean, like, it's true for the majority, but not for the always. It's not 100%.
Right. That makes sense. And what for the guest reference, like, what do you identify? Is there a point on the spectrum politically that you identify like as a Democrat, a Democrat socialist,
I'm a democratic socialist, absolutely. I believe that there are certain things going on within our communities and our society, like AI, that is literally expanded upon, taught by us every single day, that we should all have a cut of that pie from, because without us contributing to AI wouldn't exist. But I also believe that capitalism could also still exist in that system, because we're still going to need to purchase clothing. We're still going to need to purchase things that are not human necessity, like internet, right? Housing, like housing, water, food, and like healthcare. I think those are all basic human rights that we could absolutely afford to take care of in this country.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you about AI. I've heard like Sam Altman and some other, and even some of the people with Claude talk about a universal basic income from the jobs that it takes. And then I see people on the left like Elizabeth Warren pushing, that agenda. And so I think it'd be really interesting to see what happened. I mean, listen, if AI came out one day and they said, we're going to start off paying everybody $45,000 a year, that's an American, I'd take it. I mean, I wouldn't say no to that. So
I don't think anybody would, whether they're right, left, or indifferent, right? Because at the end of the day, the cost of living versus what we're paid has become such a gap. Like, I think the last time federal minimum wage moved was when I was pregnant with my first child, which was in 2009. We went from like $6 and some change an hour to like $7.25 an hour. And although arguably most places won't hire you at $7.25 an hour anymore, that doesn't mean that they can't. And nobody can survive on $7.25 an hour.
No. I mean, if you look at like San Francisco, I lived right below it. That's where I was born and raised. San Francisco right now, to have a comfortable lifestyle, you need at least $180,000 a year.
Right.
And so, and I know there's workers in there at $7.25. So at least we can agree on that. But what do you think? I mean, I was checking out the Democratic Socialists of America. I've got some notes on them right here. They got over 120,000 members, 220 chapters. And I looked at sort of their inner constitution, if you want to call it that. It's pushing an agenda I've seen to remove the Senate. And how do you center on that? Do you believe that the Senate should be removed from the government?
So it's not necessarily like removing the Senate. So they're talking about, here, let me pull up the our work here. Where's this at? So we're talking about sort of like the House and the Senate as a whole. At least this is the way that I understand it, right? We want to give more power back to the people. So instead of the executor being Donald Trump, having the most power to be able to do things like executive orders, we give that power to the people that we elect to represent us specifically, right? Because like at the end of the day, the president is just the face. The people who actually pass legislation and change lives or harm people is the House of Representatives as a whole, whether that be Congress or the Senate, right? So we want to put more power in that specifically in order to give the power back to the people instead of the president being able to veto that or write an executive order that ultimately harms tens of thousands plus people. Does that make sense?
So, but it does remove the Senate ultimately.
Hold on. Let me pull up the exact wording.
Yeah, I saw it on one of their campaign flyers, and I was reading it. It was like straight down the middle, and you know, Speaker Mike Johnson has been talking about it from the right a lot. He's been talking about how there's a large swath of people who want to remove the Senate. And so I just can't see that being beneficial for America in any way, shape, or form.
So how would it necessarily harm America though, right? Because so the way we have things right now, we have legislation that gets passed through two different chambers, and that legislation gets torn up, sent back and forth between each chamber of the government until ultimately we wind up with some sort of concession on either side and then up to the president. And most of the time, a big chunk of things that would be good for Americans, or even holding our elected officials accountable, like anti-insider trading bills, get stopped by a filibuster in the Senate. So if we just got rid of the Senate and we let the majority rule on votes like we do in in Congress, how would that be less beneficial to America?
Well, I haven't done any thought experiments on what we would be like without a Senate, but what I do know is that the framers of the Constitution created the House and the Senate for very specific reasons. And I've read the 85 Federalist Papers. I've read the Constitution in undergrad, did that stuff a long time ago. And I really believe that the framers, when they created the House and the Senate, it was for a reason. It was to make sure that a plurality in the United States of America does not overtake the government. And what I mean by that is, it's why we have the Electoral College. It's why we have the House and the Senate. Is that if a large enough group, like say the Democratic Socialists of America, want to take over the government, there is this inner bureaucracy within the House and the Senate that can make sure that the laws that are being passed do not favor that plurality. And even though you're inside of the DSA, you're pushing their agenda, but some people in America don't want what the DSA has to offer. And if you remove the Senate, I fear that groups like the DSA would be able to swing more power into the government than, say, the average voting American who's not a part of a big union like the DSA. So that's my initial thoughts on it.
Which, I mean, I think is understandable at surface level, but so the DSA platform states